Welcome to the Urban Herald. Our team today is doing a really profound deep dive into a question, one that echoes with this almost universal anxiety for so many parents.
Mm-hmm.
Who will care for my autistic child when I'm gone?
Mm.
It's more than just a thought, isn't it? It's often this unspoken fear, kind of a shadow that lengthens over even the happiest moments, and it gets heavier every year, especially for, older parents of autistic adults.
Yeah, time can feel like it's really speeding up, like an enemy almost.
Exactly. But for you, our listener, if you're grappling with these feelings, please know you are definitely not alone. We're here today to try and shed some light, to map out a path through what feels like very complex terrain.
That's absolutely right. And as part of the Urban Herald team, we've really dug deep on this. This isn't just surface level stuff. We've looked at comprehensive studies, we've talked to leading experts, and crucially, we've incorporated real life experiences.
Yeah, including insights from our own executive director, Tiago Lodi.
Exactly. His lived experience as an autistic individual combined with his professional background in advocacy and financial planning. Well, it's profoundly shaped how we understand this whole issue. So this is more than a report. It's a crucial analysis, a really personal one, designed to bring clarity and hopefully a sense of purpose.
And that really is our mission today. We want to unpack all those intricate layers of future care planning for autistic adults whose parents are aging. Our aim is to give you a clear roadmap, concrete steps, highlight the essential resources, and share some wisdom from families who've actually navigated these challenges.
Successfully navigated them.
Yes. The goal is to move from that feeling of just overwhelming uncertainty towards empowered action, making sure your loved ones have security, dignity, well-being for the future.
It really does touch the deepest parts of, well, being human,
Yeah.
and we have to acknowledge that unspoken fear right up front. It's not just about logistics, is it? It's the huge emotional weight of lifelong caregiving.
Decades of it.
Decades. Imagine dedicating your life, nurturing, advocating, supporting your autistic child, every birthday, every milestone, every challenge overcome. That question is always there underneath. And the thought that that support system might just disappear one day, it can be paralyzing. Really deep-seated anxiety that just gets stronger with age.
It's so powerful emotionally. And then you layer on the demographic realities, and the picture gets even more, urgent. Recent research paints a pretty sobering picture. Something like 75% of adults with developmental disabilities are living at home with family caregivers.
75%. That's huge.
It is. And think about it. These caregivers are often parents who are themselves reaching their senior years. They're dealing with their own health issues, maybe dwindling energy, and all the while carrying this constant gnawing anxiety about their autistic adult child's future. It really is a perfect storm.
And you see the results of that storm in the pressure on the support infrastructure, especially somewhere like the UK. Our research found over 200,000 people waiting just for autism assessments in England. And that's a 25% increase in just 1 year. When you think about the diagnosis rates, maybe 1 in 68 children, nearly 1.5%, well, those children are now adults. And the demand for long-term support is just massively outpacing what's available.
It creates this enormous bottleneck, doesn't it? Putting incredible strain on families already stretched thin.
Unbearable strain sometimes.
So for families who already have the diagnosis, who've maybe fought that battle already, the challenge shifts, doesn't it? It's less about getting recognition and more about planning for that future where, for whatever reason, parental care might not be possible anymore.
Right. It moves from diagnosis to sustainable long-term solutions that need to last for decades, potentially.
In this crisis, it's not happening in a vacuum. It's deeply tied to financial vulnerability. The National Autistic Society found that 70% of autistic adults feel financially insecure.
70%. That's a huge majority.
It is. Many struggle with finding or keeping jobs, securing stable housing. And that just makes the whole situation harder. It impacts their ability to live independently, be part of the community, really thrive.
Absolutely. It really hammers home how vital that comprehensive financial planning piece is. It's not an add-on. It's fundamental.
Let's really try and unpack this what-if phenomenon, because it seems to be at the absolute heart of so many parents' anxieties. This emotional weight, this uncertainty, it doesn't just materialize overnight.
No, it builds over years, decades, really. Decades of intense caregiving, advocating, fighting battles, and then that slow, gradual, sometimes really painful realization that your child's need for support might actually outlast your ability to provide it.
That's a profound shift in perspective.
It really is. There's a quote from Dr. Lois Shingler. She's a 70-year-old attorney, and she cares for her 45-year-old autistic son, Paul. She talks about the overwhelming emotional angst of planning for who will care for your son with special needs when you are no longer able to.
That captures it perfectly.
Yeah.
It's not just about spreadsheets and legal forms. It's deeply human.
It resonates everywhere. And our research, looking across different countries, consistently flags four main themes, four big hurdles in this planning process, especially for autistic adults. The first one, just the sheer difficulty in identifying caregiving support.
Right. It's not like typical aging where adult kids might step in.
Exactly. Over 2/3 of older parents say they struggle massively to find suitable future caregivers because the need is often for highly specialized, really nuanced, potentially lifelong support. That's a much taller order to fill.
And the independence gap really highlights this, doesn't it?
It does. Only about 32% of autistic adults live independently. Compare that to 85% of neurotypical adults. That disparity tells a story.
A huge story.
It signals that ongoing significant need for structured support systems that go way beyond just family. It's not just finding a housemate, it's finding someone with the right skills, the right understanding.
Okay, so difficulty finding caregivers is number one. What's the second theme?
The second is the barriers to actually making the plans. This is where the bureaucracy really kicks in and can feel paralyzing.
The maze.
The maze, absolutely.
Yeah.
The complexity of special needs trusts, guardianship processes, those ever-changing benefit eligibility rules. Parents just feel swamped by legal jargon, mountains of paperwork, conflicting advice. It makes it incredibly hard to even start.
And that fragmentation you mentioned earlier. The study finding families deal with 7 to 12 different agencies on average.
Yes, that 2024 study really highlights it. Imagine 7 to 12 agencies, each with its own criteria, its own process, its own waiting list.
It sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting, and it leads to huge delays and massive stress. It turns something vital into an ordeal.
Okay, so hurdles in finding care, barriers to planning. What's third?
The third is a pervasive fear of the unknown. Parents worry, understandably, not just about the quality of future care, but intensely about their child's emotional well-being. How will they cope with changes in routine, changes in caregivers?
Especially given that difficulty processing change is often part of autism.
Precisely. That makes this fear particularly acute. It impacts every single decision. And there's data to back this up. Research shows 68% of autistic adults experience significant anxiety during major life transitions.
68%. So gradual systematic planning isn't just helpful, it's crucial.
Absolutely crucial. Abrupt changes can be incredibly destabilizing.
And the fourth theme.
The fourth is this intense feeling, this urgent need to act now. Despite all these barriers, all this complexity, about 71% of older parents feel they need to start planning immediately.
But that creates a paradox, right? They feel the urgency, but they're paralyzed by how overwhelming it all seems.
Exactly. It's a really stressful bind. But that urgency, it's completely justified. We have data showing families who start comprehensive planning 5 to 7 years before it's needed, they report 40% better outcomes.
40%, that's significant.
Huge. And significantly reduced stress levels compared to those who wait until a crisis hits. So early planning makes a massive, tangible difference for everyone involved.
Okay, so with that justified urgency pushing us, let's pivot to building that financial fortress. Because strategic financial planning isn't just important here, it's everything.
It really is. And the first thing to grasp is that autism financial planning is fundamentally different from typical retirement or estate planning.
How so?
Well, just leaving a traditional inheritance can actually disqualify an autistic beneficiary from crucial government benefits like SSI or Medicaid. Understanding that distinction is step one.
It's huge. So standard estate planning could actually backfire.
Massively. And when you look at the employment landscape for autistic adults, it underlines why this planning is so critical. Only 16% in full-time work compared to 80% of the general population.
16%.
And 77% of those unemployed want to work but face significant barriers. So you can't just assume future income will cover everything. Strategic financial planning becomes the bedrock.
Which brings us to a really key tool, the Special Needs Trust, or S&T. You called it the financial cornerstone.
It absolutely is. An S&T is basically a legal structure. It lets families leave assets, sometimes substantial assets, to an autistic beneficiary without messing up their eligibility for those essential means-tested government benefits.
So it protects the benefits. That's the main thing.
That's advantage number one, benefit protection. The assets in the trust don't count towards, say, the £16,000 capital limit in the UK because the trustee controls them, not the beneficiary directly. But there's more.
Okay.
There's flexibility. The trustee can adapt spending as the beneficiary's needs change over their lifetime. There are quality of life enhancements the trust can pay for things government benefits don't cover, like tech, holidays,
The things
therapies.
that make a real difference to quality of life.
Exactly. And finally, professional management. An experienced trustee handles the complex financial and legal side. The National Autistic Society even suggests including other potential beneficiaries like siblings or charities, but stating clearly in a letter of wishes that the autistic person's needs come first.
That's really helpful guidance. Okay. S&Ts are key. What about ABLE accounts? You mentioned those two.
Right. ABL accounts, achieving a better life experience accounts, are another relatively new but very powerful tool. They let families save money. I think it's up to £15,000 a year currently, specifically for disability-related expenses.
And the key thing is, again, it doesn't affect benefit eligibility.
Correct. The money grows tax-free, and you can use it for a really broad range of qualified expenses, things like education, housing, tech, healthcare. It's a great way to supplement the S&T and provide more immediate funds while protecting those core benefits.
What are the main advantages of ABLE accounts then?
Well, the tax-free growth is a big one. The broad qualified expenses mean they're very versatile. The benefit preservation, obviously crucial. And also, family contributions are allowed. Parents, grandparents, others can all chip in.
So it allows pooling resources.
Exactly. A financial planner I know, Anne St. Clair, she really emphasizes this point. State benefits cover the basics, food, shelter, routine medical stuff, but the extras, specialized treatments, educational programs, home modifications, those usually aren't covered. That's where private resources like S&Ts and ABLE accounts become absolutely vital.
Got it. So S&Ts for long-term protection and larger sums. ABL accounts for more accessible savings for specific expenses, and both work together to protect benefits.
That's a good way to think about it.
Now let's talk specifically about SSI, supplemental security income, in the U.S. context. That's often a vital piece of the puzzle, right?
Absolute vital for many. SSI provides monthly financial support up to $914 currently, though it varies. But qualifying involves meeting very specific criteria.
What are they?
You need limited income, generally under about $1,971 a month from work. You need limited resources, meaning assets under $2,000 for an individual. And of course, a qualifying disability, which needs to be well documented, showing how autism impacts daily functioning.
So under $2,000 in assets. That's where the S&Ts and ABLE accounts become so important again.
Exactly, because assets held in those don't count towards that $2,000 limit. So careful financial planning allows families to provide additional support without accidentally disqualifying their loved one from SSI. It's all about understanding how income and assets are counted and structuring things correctly.
Okay, this is a lot to juggle. S&Ts, ABLE accounts, SSI rules. How do families actually put this all together? You mentioned a timeline.
Yes, a comprehensive financial planning timeline can make this feel much less daunting. It breaks it down into manageable phases.
Let's walk through that. What happens in the first couple of years?
Years 1 to 2 are about foundation building. This is when you'd establish the S&T with a solicitor who really knows disability law. You'd open the ABLE account and start contributing regularly. You'd meticulously document current expenses and try to project future needs. And you'd review all your insurance policies, life, disability, make sure they're adequate.
Okay, laying the groundwork. What about years 3, 4?
Years 3 to 4 focus on system optimization. Now you're looking at maximizing those ABLE contributions, maybe coordinating with siblings or grandparents on a contribution strategy, building strong relationships with your financial advisors, and perhaps gently starting to transition some financial responsibilities or knowledge to backup caregivers or trustees, making the system more robust.
Right, making it work efficiently. And then years 5, 7.
Years 5, 7 are for implementation and refinement. This is where you finalize all legal documents. You train family members or whoever will manage the trust and ABLE accounts. You set up a regular review schedule annually, probably. And critically, you create a detailed financial instruction manual, a how-to guide for future caregivers.
That systematic approach sounds like it would really reduce the anxiety.
It absolutely does. It turns panic into a plan.
Okay, so we've covered the crucial financial architecture. Let's move on to the legal frameworks. These are designed to protect rights and autonomy, right? But guardianship isn't always automatic.
No, absolutely not. And that's a really important shift in thinking. Guardianship processes like using the Court of Protection in the UK vary hugely, and it should not be the automatic default. Many autistic adults can and should make their own decisions, perhaps with some support.
Is there data on how common guardianship is?
Yeah, research suggests about 43% of autistic adults have some form of legal guardianship or deputyship. But advocates are pushing hard for the least restrictive option principle,
Meaning?
meaning only imposing the level of restriction absolutely necessary for safety and well-being. It forces us to ask, how can we maximize autonomy even when support is needed?
So in the UK context, what are the main options under that quarter protection umbrella?
Well, you have financial deputyship. That's specifically for managing money, benefits, property if someone struggles with financial decisions but can handle personal care choices.
Okay.
Then there's health and welfare deputyship. This covers decisions about living arrangements, medical care, daily activities. It's usually only granted if someone clearly lacks capacity in those specific areas.
And you mentioned limited versus full guardianship.
Yes. It's crucial to consider if a limited arrangement could work, preserving more autonomy rather than seeking total control. The whole application process needs strong medical evidence of incapacity and checks the proposed deputy is suitable. But the goal should always be the least restrictive path.
Are there alternatives to deputyship or guardianship?
Definitely. For autistic adults who do have capacity but might need support with complex decisions, a lasting power of attorney, LPA, can be a much less restrictive option.
How does that work?
You set it up while the person still has capacity. It's legally binding, but you can define its scope quite narrowly, so it allows for tailored support without removing fundamental rights like full guardianship might.
And the court of protection process itself for getting deputyship, what does that involve?
It's a methodical process. First, an assessment of capacity by medical professionals. Then, application preparation, detailed forms documenting why deputyship is needed. Then, a court review, where judges look at the evidence, maybe ask for more info. And if granted, there's ongoing supervision with regular reports required.
And timelines, costs.
On average, maybe 4 to 6 months, but complex cases take longer. Costs can range from roughly £1,000 to £3,000, sometimes more, depending on legal fees and complexity.
Okay, that gives us a good overview of the legal side. Let's shift now to a really practical concern, finding a place to call home. Housing and care options. The landscape here has changed a lot, hasn't it?
Oh, dramatically. We've moved, thankfully, away from the old institutional models. The focus now is much more on choice, independence, community integration, all while providing the right level of tailored support.
What are the current trends showing? Where are autistic adults living?
Well, about 38% are in some form of supported housing, which is encouraging. But still, around 29% live in the family home past age 25. So there's a mix, and definitely still a need for more diverse options. The goal isn't just shelter, it's a place to thrive, feel connected, have agency.
And supported living seems like a key model gaining traction.
Very much so. It empowers autistic adults by giving them tenancy rights in their own place, but with support levels tailored precisely to their needs.
What does that look like in practice?
It can vary. Maybe independent flats with support workers visiting for specific tasks like budgeting or appointments, or shared housing with live-in support offering social interaction plus 247 assistants if needed, or even purpose-built housing designed with sensory and communication needs in mind.
You mentioned Praxis Care having success with this.
Yes, they operate across Ireland and the UK. Their model really emphasizes resident control, choosing housemates, involved in selecting staff, managing their home environment. And the outcomes are impressive. Studies show about 35% higher satisfaction rates compared to more traditional residential care.
That really raises the question of how to scale up these person-centered models, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The demand is huge.
What about those who need more intensive support? Is residential care still a major option?
Yes, for individuals needing round-the-clock support, residential care services remain vital. They provide the whole package: accommodation, meals, activities, 247 staffing. Organizations like the National Autistic Society run specialist services designed specifically for autistic adults.
And the focus there is on quality, person-centered approaches.
Absolutely. Modern residential care emphasizes person-centered planning based on individual assessments, creating autism-specific environments, reducing sensory triggers, using visual supports, maintaining routines, promoting community integration through outings and connections, and focusing on ongoing skill development to boost independence.
Okay. Now, what about respite and temporary care? How important is that in the planning mix?
Incredibly important, crucial, really, both for aging parents who desperately need breaks and as stepping stones for the autistic adult towards more independence. Short breaks allow everyone to experience alternative care gradually, not just in a crisis.
Are there tangible benefits shown in research?
Yes, definitely. Families using regular respite report 28% lower stress levels, and they're more likely to have successful transitions to permanent alternative care when the time comes. It eases the burden and smooths the path.
Makes sense. Of course, the big question is always housing costs and funding. What are the typical ranges we're talking about?
It varies quite a bit. Supported living might be 400, 800 pounds per week. Residential care, especially specialist autism services, may be 800, 100, and 1,500 pounds weekly. Respite care is often daily, perhaps 150, 300 pounds per day, gives you a ballpark.
And funding, can families expect help?
Local authority funding is available, but accessing it often involves long, complex assessments, and families might still need to contribute based on their own means, which loops right back to why that early financial planning is so critical.
It all connects. Okay, let's move on to the path to purpose, employment support. You mentioned earlier how important meaningful work is.
Yes, it's often underestimated. Employment isn't just about income, it's about purpose, social connection, independence, all vital for a fulfilling life.
It impacts everything.
Totally. And thankfully, there's a much bigger focus now on improving employment outcomes. Effective autism transition planning for employment really needs to start early, ideally in the teens.
What does that involve?
Key parts include good skills assessment to find strengths and support needs, specialized job training programs teaching not just job skills but also workplace social skills, supported employment services providing ongoing help on the job, and, really importantly, employer education to help companies create genuinely inclusive environments.
Are there specific programs people should know about?
Yeah, there are some great ones. The Autism Speaks Employment Toolkit is a good online resource. Specialist Stern focuses globally on tech jobs, leveraging unique autistic strengths, and the National Autistic Society in the UK has dedicated employment services, like job coaching.
Do these programs actually work? Is there evidence?
The results are pretty compelling. Autistic adults in supported employment programs have job retention rates around 85%. Compare that to maybe 45% for those job searching independently.
Wow, 85% versus 45%. That's a huge difference.
It really shows the power of tailored support. The question is, how do we expand these successful models?
And the benefits of employment for long-term planning are significant too, right? Beyond just the individual.
Absolutely. It reduces the family financial burden. Even part-time work helps. It fosters increased independence as workplace skills transfer to daily life. It provides vital social connections, combating isolation, and it gives that powerful sense of purpose, which is huge for mental health.
So families should definitely factor potential employment into their planning.
Yes, but carefully. You need to consider the potential income, but also make sure it doesn't jeopardize essential benefits eligibility. It requires that careful navigation, again, probably with expert advice.
Right. Okay, let's talk about the sibling connection. That question of who will care often falls to siblings, doesn't it? That must create complex dynamics.
Incredibly complex and often emotionally charged. While many siblings willingly step up, it shouldn't just be assumed or imposed without really open dialogue and preparation.
Is there research on sibling expectations versus preparedness?
Yes. It shows that while about 67% of siblings expect to take on caregiving roles, many admit feeling quite unprepared, which really underscores the need for early, transparent planning and education, not just letting it fall on them during a crisis.
So how do you effectively prepare siblings for potential roles? What are the steps?
It involves several things. Crucially, open communication. Regular family talks about autism, future needs, everyone's feelings. Then, skills development. Teaching siblings support techniques, emergency plans, advocacy skills. Also, boundary setting. Empowering siblings to choose their level of involvement, protecting their own well-being too. And financial education, making sure they understand the trusts, benefits, legal setups.
Are there resources specifically for siblings? They often have their own unique challenges.
Yes, thankfully. The Organization for Autism Research, OAR, has excellent guides like Autism, My Sibling, and Me. They validate the sibling's experience and not just treating them as future caregivers.
That validation sounds really important.
It is. Their feelings often get overlooked.
And beyond siblings, you advocate for building extended support networks.
Absolutely. Don't put the entire weight on siblings. Successful strategies involve creating broader networks. This could mean involving professional care coordinators, engaging extended family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, nurturing community connections, faith groups, charities, volunteers.
You also mentioned peer-family partnerships.
Yes, like those highlighted by Ireland's Autism organization, connecting with other autism families for mutual support, shared experiences. It's incredibly powerful. There's strength in that shared understanding and collective advocacy.
And are there specific sibling support resources for their own needs?
Yes. The Sibling Support Project is a great international resource. Many local autism groups now offer sibling workshops, and online communities provide safe spaces for sharing and advice.
Does this preparation actually make a difference for siblings?
Definitely. Studies show prepared and supported siblings feel more confident and less anxious about future roles. It really proves that proactive engagement and providing resources specifically for siblings pays off in their readiness and their emotional well-being.
Okay, shifting to a more urgent topic. When crisis strikes, emergency preparedness. As parents age, this becomes absolutely critical, doesn't it?
Absolutely crucial. Unexpected health issues, emergencies, they happen. Comprehensive crisis planning is about mitigating risk and ensuring continuity of care no matter what.
What should be included in that planning? What are the key components?
We recommend covering several areas. First, immediate response protocols. This means up-to-date emergency contacts, current medication info, dosages, doctors, clear behavior support strategies for managing distress, and accessible communication aids. The absolute essentials for first responders or temporary caregivers.
Like a grab-and-go info pack.
Exactly. Then, thinking bigger, institutional arrangements. This includes advanced planning for hospital protocols, making sure medical staff understand autism needs, having prearranged temporary care options like emergency respite contacts, and maintaining strong links with professional contacts, therapists, doctors who already know the individual.
And the legal side.
Absolutely vital. Clear legal documentation. Who has medical decision-making authority? Who has financial access arrangements for emergencies? And incredibly detailed care instructions, routines, preferences, support needs, sensory issues, everything needed for seamless care continuity.
Are there newer tools being recommended now?
Yes, the emergency planning checklist is evolving, using digital documentation stored securely online, creating physical emergency care boxes with essential items, setting up professional notification systems, and having backup location planning for emergencies, using tech for better preparedness.
Does this level of planning actually work in a real crisis?
The data says yes, overwhelmingly. Families with comprehensive plans experience about 60% shorter resolution times during emergencies, and they report feeling significantly more confident handling the unexpected. It reduces chaos and brings peace of mind.
That's a powerful motivator to get it done. Okay, let's talk about navigating the support ecosystem, professional resources. You stressed earlier that families aren't alone. Where can they turn?
Right. The support network extends far beyond family. In the UK, for example, there are numerous fantastic national support organizations. The National Autistic Society, NAS, is a cornerstone.
What do they offer?
A huge range. Parent-to-parent helplines, invaluable emotional support from trained volunteers who are also parents. Educational programs like Early Bird for younger children, Teen Life for adolescents, specialist residential services. And recently, they've expanded into online support groups, financial planning workshops, legal clinic referrals, transition planning support. Really comprehensive.
Any others people should know?
Autism Central is great for finding local groups and activities. Local parent support groups themselves are often amazing hubs of practical info and emotional support. And looking at Ireland, ADSAM really showcases the power of peer-led support, adult programs, family services, legal clinics, emphasizing community.
And beyond these organizations, assembling a professional team is key.
Almost always necessary for effective long-term planning. You ideally need a coordinated professional support team. This might include special needs financial planners who understand benefits and trusts, autism experienced solicitors for legal work like guardianship, dedicated care coordinators to help navigate services, and maybe independent autism advocates for support with disputes.
The key is finding people who really get autism, right? Not just generic advisors.
Exactly. The team needs to understand autism's specific needs, not try to fit the family into a standard box.
You also mentioned the Autism Speaks financial toolkit. What's in that?
It's a really comprehensive online resource, covers basic financial planning, S&Ts, ABLE, benefits, estate planning, wills, guardianship, insurance strategies, employment planning, vocational rehab, supported employment. It's a great starting point.
Have they added anything new recently?
Yes, some helpful interactive calculators for estimating lifetime care costs and decision trees to help choose legal structures, really trying to demystify the complex stuff.
And if someone is looking for that specialist financial advisor, what should they look for?
Good question. Look for specific credentials like Chartered Special Needs Consultant, CHSNC, or similar certifications. Check their experience, ideally 3-5 years working specifically with autism families. Probe their knowledge of SSI, Medicaid, S&Ts, EBL accounts, and always ask for references from other autism families they've helped.
Are there directories to help find these people?
Yes, organizations like the Academy of Special Needs Planners have directories. It's worth seeking out that specialist expertise because generic advice often misses the crucial nuances of autism planning.
This leads perfectly into a really important area: balancing protection with empowerment. Let's talk about the autistic voice, empowering self-advocacy and independence. How crucial is involving the autistic adult themselves?
It's absolutely fundamental. Successful future planning must involve the autistic adult as much as possible, respecting their right to self-determination, choice, and dignity. It's a critical shift away from just planning for them to planning with them.
How can families and professionals support that involvement?
By actively developing self-advocacy skills, this means using practical strategies like accessible planning documents, visuals, simple language, using gradual preparation, introducing concepts over time, providing lots of choice-making practice in daily life, and ensuring they have rights education so they understand their protections and entitlements.
And even if someone needs significant support, maximizing independence is still a goal.
Always. Greater independence is often far more possible than people assume. Skill building in daily living, communication, self-care should continue throughout adulthood.
What are the key life skills to focus on?
Priorities often include financial literacy, understanding money, budgeting, avoiding scams, healthcare self-advocacy, communicating symptoms, understanding treatment options, social navigation, building relationships, accessing community resources, and definitely technology skills, using devices for communication, safety, independence. These skills empower tangible autonomy.
And there are newer approaches like self-directed support planning.
Yes, these are really exciting developments, giving autistic adults much more control. Things like personal budgets or direct payments where they manage funds for their own support. Individual service funds, which pool resources but still offer more choice. And crucially, supported decision-making as a powerful alternative to guardianship, providing assistance while preserving autonomy.
Does this self-directed approach actually lead to better outcomes?
The evidence strongly suggests yes. Studies show autistic adults using self-directed services report 42% higher satisfaction rates compared to traditional models. It really highlights that empowerment and control are key to well-being.
Okay, well, we have to acknowledge the current reality.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the current storm, the 2024 crisis in autism services. Planning sounds great, but the landscape is tough right now, isn't it?
It is undeniably tough. The system is under immense pressure, making proactive planning even more challenging, but also even more critical.
What does the data show? You mentioned waiting lists earlier.
The NHS data from September 2024 in England is alarming. Over 204,000 people waiting for autism assessments, a 25% jump in a year. 89% waiting over the 13-week target. Some families, according to the Children's Commissioner, are waiting over 4 years.
4 years?
4 years, just stuck in limbo. For aging parents, those delays are lost opportunities to get support systems established while they still have the energy to advocate effectively.
And what other trends are making planning harder right now?
We're seeing service closures, specialist units shutting down, pervasive workforce shortages of experienced professionals, huge funding pressures on local authorities, leading to tighter eligibility and fewer resources, and just increasing bureaucratic complexity, more hoops to jump through.
How does this crisis specifically impact financial planning and benefits?
In several ways. Longer assessment times mean delays accessing financial support tied to diagnosis. Families face increased private costs paying for things while they wait. There's huge planning uncertainty about future service availability and costs. And the professional shortages make it harder to find qualified financial and legal advisors who understand autism.
Are support services adapting to this crisis? What are they doing?
Many autism benefits advisory services are stepping up, creating emergency support funds for short-term help during waits, offering more legal advocacy to challenge delays in decisions, providing care coordination to help families navigate the maze, and developing specific financial emergency planning strategies for managing costs during those long waits.
So, despite the storm, the message is still, don't delay planning.
Absolutely. The challenges are real, formidable even. But proactive planning consistently leads to better outcomes than waiting for a crisis. Taking action remains the most effective defense.
Okay, after covering all that ground, people might be thinking, where on earth do I start? Let's provide your roadmap forward. Taking action. How can families break this down?
That's key, breaking it down. It feels overwhelming, but taking manageable steps makes progress achievable. And even small early steps significantly reduce anxiety and boost confidence.
Can we outline some concrete steps with timelines? What can people do right now, this month?
Okay, immediate actions this month. Gather all your documents, diagnoses, assessments, current plans. List everyone involved in your child's current care. Start researching local autism organizations. Begin those open family conversations about the future. And create that detailed emergency contact list. Just get organized.
Good starting point. What about the next 3-6 months, short-term goals?
Next 3 to 6 months. Schedule a legal consultation with a special needs solicitor. Do a financial review with an advisor. Assess resources, project needs. Start exploring housing options. Maybe visit some places. Actively build your network. Connect with other families, orgs. Open that ADL account. And do a full benefits review to understand eligibility.
Okay, making solid progress, then medium-term planning, 6 months to 1 year.
6 months to 1 year. Establish the special needs trust. Review your insurance coverage thoroughly. Start structured sibling preparation, educate them, discuss roles, build relationships with potential future care providers, explore employment options, vocational services, training, and develop that comprehensive crisis plan.
Getting the core pieces in place. And long-term planning, next 1-2 years.
Next 1-2 years. Complete any necessary guardianship deputyship applications. Fully fund the trusts and ABLE accounts according to your strategy. Finalize detailed care arrangements. Fully prepare and train family members for their roles. Begin gradual transition planning, introducing new support slowly, and establish regular review processes, annual check-ins.
That phased approach makes it seem much more manageable. What are some essential resources to kick things off?
Definitely check out the Autism Speaks Financial Planning Toolkit online. Get official Court of Protection information if you're in the UK. Contact the National Autistic Society Family Support. Find your local authority's social services for assessments. Look into benefits advisory services for guidance. Research ABLE account providers, and explore autism employment services.
Maybe a quick checklist for those financial milestones.
Good idea. Financial planning milestones checklist. Year 1, SNT established, ABLE open funded, basic legal docs done, professional team assembled. Year 2, full funding strategy in place. Care options researched, family educated, crisis plans tested, and ongoing annual financial reviews, benefit checks, care plan updates, maintaining professional relationships.
That's really practical. So as we draw towards the end, what's the core empowerment message we want people to take away?
It's that seeking help isn't failure. It's an act of love, of responsibility. Every conversation, every document, every connection you build contributes to a future where your child can thrive with dignity and the right support. The path is complex, but you absolutely do not have to walk it alone.
And we know there are inspiring journeys out there, families who have done this. Can you share a couple of examples?
Definitely. Let's call them the Johnson family. Sarah and Michael felt they started late. David was 28, they were 65, feeling overwhelmed. But they took small steps, contacted NAS, found an attorney, opened an ABL account, set up an S&T, got David into supported employment. Now, David has a job, financial security, and is looking forward to supported living. Sarah said, taking it step by step made it manageable.
That's fantastic. Another one.
The Williams family. Margaret got diagnosed with early onset dementia at 58. Her daughter, Emma, had to plan fast for her brother, Marcus, 31. Emma secured emergency deputyship, temporary care, then quickly set up an S&T and found supported living. Marcus is now more independent than they ever thought possible. Emma stressed involving Marcus in decisions was key.
Wow, turning a crisis into empowerment.
Exactly. And one more, the O'Brien. AOF 25, got into job training, worked with a coach, volunteered. Now she has a full-time data entry job, funds her own ABL account, and is planning supported living. Her dad said meaningful work was the best security they could give her.
These stories show it is possible, even if the path looks different for everyone. Small steps involving the person, building support gradually, those seem like common threads.
Absolutely. They offer real hope.
And speaking of hope, let's end by looking forward. Are there glimmers of hope, emerging trends and opportunities?
Yes, definitely. The landscape is evolving, and there are promising developments.
Like what? Technology?
Technology innovations for sure. Smart home tech for routines and safety. Communication apps for non-speaking individuals. VR for job and social skills training. Wearable health monitors. These tools hold huge potential for enhancing independence and quality of life.
What about policy?
We're seeing positive movement in policy developments, more employment incentives, housing innovation focused on community integration, efforts towards benefit modernization to reduce bureaucracy, and a growing recognition of the need for better family support expansion.
And community awareness. Is that changing?
Slowly, but yes, increasing community awareness and autism acceptance, more employer education initiatives, improvements in schools around transition planning, advancements in healthcare for autism-specific adult services. Together, these trends offer real hope for a more comprehensive, accessible, and compassionate support system in the future.
So to wrap up this deep dive from the Urban Herald team today, we've really explored the critical need for proactive planning for autistic adults, acknowledging the journey's complexity but stressing that support is available.
That's right. And if you are feeling overwhelmed, our final call to action is simple. Just take one small step. Contact a local organization. Schedule that initial chat with an advisor. Start a conversation with family. Every step, no matter how small, makes a lasting difference.
And we want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over. In a world that often struggles with difference and change, how can we, all of us, build systems that truly embrace flexibility and actively empower choice? How do we ensure every autistic adult not only has a plan for their future, but a strong, clear, respected voice in shaping it?
A really powerful question to consider. Thank you for joining us here at the Urban Herald for this vital discussion.
We truly hope this deep dive has offered some clarity, pointed you towards resources, and perhaps given you renewed confidence. Until next time, from the Urban Herald.